Lumbridge is probably one of the most iconic towns in old school RuneScape. In this series, I will be working to build a scale model of it. For those new to the series, and to those returning, welcome. I really appreciate all the support we've received on the series so far. In case you don't remember, this model is approximately 56 tiles across and 72 tiles long. I felt like this captured the main part of Lumbridge while keeping the model to a manageable size. The scale of this model is 1 to 192, and as you watch, I will be explaining some of the modeling process as well as giving some interesting lore about the area that I am working on. Today, I'll be working on the Lumbridge blacksmith. Here you can see me cutting the rough shape of the blacksmith using a hot wire foam cutter. You guys have seen me use this in every episode of this series thus far, and I was curious if you enjoyed me going in depth on the modeling process every episode, even if I tend to repeat much of what I said in the previous episode, or if I should just cover new modeling techniques as they come up throughout the series. Anyways, let me know down in the comments as I try to use your feedback to help me improve the upcoming videos. This will be an exciting episode for many of you, as I have decided to model the interior of the blacksmith as well, seeing as there are no doors on the building. I used a plastic material called polystyrene to construct the fence that surrounds the building. Here you can see my special brick cutting tool that I made back in part 2 to help speed up the process, as well as make more uniform brickwork. This tool will henceforth be referred to as the Brick Cutter 1000, as I have begun development on the Brick Cutter 2000, which I hope to have finished in time to use on the Lumbridge Castle. I had to be extra careful with the depth at which I cut the lines for the brickwork, so as to not cut through it since I had to do it on both sides of the foam. I then used a regular pen to emboss the cuts. With the bricks embossed on both the interior and exterior of the building, I moved on to embossing the roof using a mechanical carpenter's pencil. Since the interior of this building will be visible, I had to take some gray paint and cover up the grid that marks the location on the model. Using some matte Mod Podge, I applied it all over the roof and walls to help protect the foam and prepare it for the primer in the next step. Next, I worked on the interior of the blacksmith. I cut the countertops out of a large sheet of polystyrene, then made the counters from some foam. I cut the furnace out of a small block of foam as well, and embossed it to give it some extra detail. This is one of only 30 furnaces in the whole game, and is located 85 tiles from the bank atop Lumbridge Castle, or 93 tiles from the Coalmancer's chest. With the interior furniture attached to the walls, I came up with the idea of making a removable roof. Since to this point in time, I had been planning on gluing the roof in place and only being able to see the interior through the two small doorways. I planned to achieve this using several carefully placed magnets, and after getting a lot of super glue on my fingers, I eventually managed to get the magnets glued in place. With the construction of the building nearly finished, I needed to add the shutters to it before priming. It's hard to see in the video, but I actually have made small cuts along this shutter panel, which should show up during the painting process to give the illusion of the slats. Taking some black acrylic paint, I primed the whole building to prepare it for dry brushing in the next step. Utilizing a technique called dry brushing, I progressively dusted brighter and brighter grays onto the building to give the brickwork more depth. It's usually a good idea to do dry brushing first, as it can be somewhat messy and sometimes hard to avoid smaller details, such as the shutters in this case. Now going back, I touched up the shutters, counters, and other small details. This blacksmith is one of the few in-game that has both a furnace and an anvil in very close proximity. Unfortunately, the anvil is rusted, and players can only smith bronze items on it, making it really only useful for new players. The furnace, though it has no restrictions, there are many better options nearer to a bank for both free-to-play and members, so you rarely see anyone actually using it. With the painting complete, it was time to glue everything in place on the model. I was actually pretty excited about making this blacksmith, as I actually enjoy smithing on old school RuneScape. I am currently level 93 smithing on my group Iron Man, and it has been an invaluable skill for manufacturing bolts for me and my friend. Here is the smithing apprentice, Fioraz, which is an Irish name that means rock. He isn't particularly helpful. He basically just tells you that you can smith bronze bars on the anvil outside, and that if you want any more help, you need to talk to his master, Sani, in Barrock. When you examine him, it gives you the text. Fioraz looks a bit fiery, and with the last few final touches made, we are that much closer to completing this scale model of Lumbridge. I unfortunately forgot to record myself making the barrels and rusted anvil, but they are there. If you enjoyed watching the model making process and are interested in watching the town of Lumbridge grow, all while learning the interesting facts and lore surrounding this town, go ahead and like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.